Welcome to ForexTV.com. It's Monday, October 22nd. I'm Remy Hookie for your New York Forex Market Buzz. In the North American afternoon session, the dollar is paring its losses against the majors. Euro dollar is at $1.4160 as of 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The pair has come off a record high hit earlier of 1.4347. Meanwhile, dollar yen is at 114.28 yen after earlier touching 113.25. The U.S. dollar has rebounded as investors move back into the so-called safe haven currencies, and global equities declined following the tumble in U.S. stocks on Friday. And the major indexes have followed the Nasdaq into the green, erasing earlier declines. The weekend G7 meeting in Washington, D.C. did not address U.S. dollar weakness. Joining us now is Esiner, Senior Market Analyst. Good afternoon, Omar.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Well, on the heels of the G7 meeting, which did not specifically address the currencies of dollar, euro, or yen, we saw the sell-off in the U.S. dollar overnight. Omar, the greenback has pared losses in the session, but now that this event risk is out of the way, what are your ranges for the major dollar pairs heading into tomorrow's session?
Well, after the event risk, as you mentioned, has passed, I think the market will inevitably go back to selling the U.S. dollar. As you mentioned, we did see a little bit of a bounce in the dollar overnight, which it was mostly supported by risk aversion and a flight to safety. But over the medium term, I think we're dollar to continue weakening. Overnight ranges and into tomorrow for the major pairs probably won't stray too far ahead of what we've seen today, simply because we have some key numbers to take a look at later this week. So I think for euro dollar, we'll probably remain in the 141.20 to about 142 range. Dollar yen, I think we'll probably stick around 114.50 to about 113 and change. Sterling, 205.5, maybe down to 204.5, and
okay, now that we've covered the majors, let's move on to the crosses. In commodities, we're seeing a retreat in both NYMEX crude oil and COMEX gold futures, and also we're seeing the Canadian dollar weakening against the U.S. dollar. But with the yen strengthening against the high-yielding currencies, if you could give us your ranges for the key crosses.
Well, for the crosses, again, I think the medium-term ranges will probably be first and foremost for around 165.5 to 160.45. That's again a medium-term range for sterling yen, 69.95 to about 69.25. For the crosses with the commodity currencies, Kiwi yen probably around 54. The figure down to about 52.5, and then finally for Aussie yen, the medium-term range.
Okay, let's take a look at the data front for the week ahead. We have more home sales data coming out from the U.S., including existing home sales and new home sales data. Well, with expectations for more soft data out of the U.S. ahead of next week's FOMC meeting, what do Forex traders need to keep in mind, both in terms of fundamentals and also technicals?
Well, I think definitely the homes data is going to be key this week. As you mentioned, Wednesday we have existing home sales, Thursday new home sales. We saw how the dollar sold up dramatically last week following a sharp downside for the housing starts. And so I think the home sales data was data, I think, would cement the view that the Fed will likely cut rates once again at its meeting at the end of this month. And so I think that will definitely mean more downside for the U.S. dollar.
Okay, Omar, thank you very much for insight and analysis.
Thank you.
That wraps it up for Forex Market Buzz with Omar Esiner, Senior Market Analyst at Ruesch International. I'm Remy Hookie. Join us later this afternoon Eastern Time for PM Exchange right here on ForexTV.com.